Welcome to Aging Insight with your host, John Ross and Lisa Schollmeyer. This program is made possible by
Welcome back to Aging Insight. I'm Lisa Schollmeyer and I'm here with John Ross, and we are elder law attorneys based here in the Arklatex. And Aging Insight is a weekly television program where we come to you bringing you information that is helpful to you as a senior, a family that may be taking care of a senior, or maybe someone who might be a senior someday.
Yeah, could be a whole range of people.
That's right. So, and our point with Aging Insight is to bring you information about legal issues, financial issues, medical and insurance issues, housing issues, all those things that may change as we get a little bit older. So we hope you get something out of today's Aging Insight program, because today we're going to focus on something that everyone's interested in, and that is money.
That's right. A lot of times when we talk about what we do as elder law attorneys, we talk about that we try to address the bigger concerns that people have, like avoiding nursing home care, avoiding becoming a burden on their friends and family, and ultimately avoiding going broke trying to accomplish those goals. Try not to spend all of your money through retirement, and so the financial side of this is a big deal, and sometimes things can just kind of fall by the wayside. Little things can creep up on you, but little things can be big things over time, and so that's going to be kind of today's topic.
That's right. So today I wanted to talk about something that is called gray charges. Now, that doesn't refer to the color of your hair, but gray charges are charges that are coming out of your bank account, or maybe they're being charged to your credit card, and they're generally for smaller things that maybe you had authorized at one time, or maybe you didn't, and the charges are just really so small that most people, if they're not looking closely, they escape their notice.
Yeah, a lot of times in our practice, we end up looking at people's bank statements and credit card statements. Oftentimes, when we're trying to look at maybe that senior has suffered a stroke and they are in fact at the nursing home, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to pay for the care that they need. And in the process, we'll start looking at those bank statements, and we'll ask the kids, we'll say, well, what kind of monthly expenses does mom have? And they'll say, well, the normal, she's got utilities, she's got her Medicare supplemental insurance, but those are all direct deposits, or direct withdrawals. And we start looking at it, and then here's a whole list of other little charges, some of them small, some of them big. And we start asking, well, what is this $3 here for? Well, I don't know. Well, what about this $10? Don't know that either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those gray charges can add up. And, in the last year that we have statistics, back in 2012, it appears that over $14 billion were charged in gray charges to American consumers. And of course, those are consumers of all ages. But, some of us, we get real comfortable in our life, and maybe we're not living quite right on the edge with our expenses. So sometimes those gray charges kind of creep in there and we don't pay attention. And before you know it, we've paid some company $300, $600 before finally we pay attention and see that there's a deduction on our bank statement or a charge on our credit card statement. So these gray charges are a big deal, very profitable if maybe you're a merchant that kind of deals with these. So I wanted to talk about what to look for and where those gray charges can be hiding. So, John, one of the first areas that we often see is something where a person signed up for something that was free,
Right.
but then there was some language in there somewhere that said you after 30 days it's a paid service.
Right. They call these free to paid type programs, and I guess I'm guilty of this myself. I'm shopping at an online retailer, and it pops up with a little advertisement, and it says, well, if you'll sign up for this particular program with our company, you'll get your shipping free on this order. And I say, well, you know what? Shipping's expensive. If I can save the $7 or the $10, I'll go ahead and sign up. So I sign up for their program. But, buried in there is what I have done is I've enrolled in this program that is free for 30 days. But if I don't cancel it within that 30 days, well, they've already got my credit card information or my bank account information, and so now they're going to start billing my account maybe once a year, maybe once every month, depending on the service. And I've agreed to this when I signed up for that, although, depending on the circumstances, maybe I realized what I was signing up for, maybe I didn't. Maybe I agreed to sign up for it with every intention of canceling it within the 30 days, and then just forget.
Yeah, just didn't happen. So you got to keep up with those. But
that's right. But those keep recurring, and it's real easy, especially if they're things that are annual type premiums where they only take it out once a year. It may be a significant charge, but you don't see it except until after it's already gone.
Yeah. So. Well, we want to talk about 4 more types of common gray charges that we see on bank statements and on credit card accounts. And when we come back from the break, we're going to follow up and talk about those. So stick with us.
Hi there, I'm Larry Sims. It's been my privilege for the past several years to be a volunteer board member of Hospice of Texarkana. And there I'm able to represent community members like you. We continually customize our end-of-life care to better meet the needs of our community. As an example, our medical director and nurse practitioner still make visits to homes and facilities. Call today to learn more about the help we can give your family. Hospice of Texarkana, the nonprofit hospice established in 1985 for the community, by the community.
With my dad, it was in a hospital setting, and in his situation, he fell into renal failure. He also helped us make the decision to be on hospice. I have to admit, it took a huge weight off our shoulders for him to be willing. That offered us a lot of comfort, along with the hospice company itself, but it gave us closure, and it helped us through the entire process.
SEMA Hospice, comfort and care when it matters most.
Off of McKnight Road in Texarkana, Texas, the Oaks Independent are apartments for seniors who love secure peace of mind and consistency in their lives. You're going to fall in love with this newly built luxurious residential establishment for the aging adult. All bills are included and all apartments are wheelchair accessible, inclusive with all the amenities. Live in style, comfort, and accessibility. Live independent. Call today to schedule a tour. The Oaks Independent.
Welcome back to Aging Insight, everybody. I'm your host, John Ross, here with Lisa Scholmeyer. And on Aging Insight today, we're talking about something called phantom charges. And the reason we're talking about this is because we have seen lots of seniors over our practice who, many of them are, the phrase they like to use is they're on a fixed income.
Sure.
That they get their Social Security, maybe they get a pension, but their income stays the same other than maybe that occasional little 1% raise the federal government gets. It doesn't really change all that much. And so if you're losing money for things, that can really impact somebody who's on that fixed income. And a quick and easy way to lose some of that money are these things called gray charges, which are where your bank account or credit card account is getting billed or charged for something, but you may not even realize it, or you may not know exactly what it is, and those can be a significant hit over time.
That's right. So we talked about charges where you go from free to a paid service when maybe you didn't really intend to. So that's something to look at. Another area of gray charges, something called phantom charges. Now, phantom charges are charges that you did not authorize, but somehow your credit card or bank information has been compromised in a small way. Maybe it's a business entity that you do business with, but you're getting these very small charges for, sometimes we'll see them as small as 72 cents or $3, but they're very small. And so a lot of people think, I just don't have the time to deal with, where 72 cents went. But actually, what happens is they just ding you a little bit each month, and you don't really notice. It's not enough to, compromise your budget. And so you just don't deal with it, but yet somebody is getting that 72 cents or those $3. And just think about it. If I could charge 10,000 people, 72 cents, that's a haul. It's a nice haul.
I'm pretty sure that was the plot behind the criminal masterminds in Superman 3.
I think so.
Bill a little bit to a lot of people, and you can make a lot of money. But that's where these phantom charges, where you're not actually getting anything, it's just appearing on there. The other that's kind of similar is a type of gray charge called the zombie charge.
So phantom and zombies.
Phantoms and zombies, yes. Very Halloween-ish.
Yeah.
But these zombie charges are where you maybe you purchased something, or you subscribed to something and you've canceled it. You canceled that membership or something that you had already agreed to sign up for, and yet that charge keeps coming.
Right.
Even though it's dead, it just keeps on coming like a zombie.
Yeah. So we've seen a lot of that, particularly several years ago with some of the internet services out there, where you'd call to cancel, and the customer service representative would give you such trouble in canceling that service. But finally, you thought you had gotten and talked to the right person, canceled the service, and yet the charge shows up the next month. And so these zombie type charges do continue, and there are some businesses that are known for this practice, to where they always say, well, you didn't really cancel, or they try to talk you out of canceling. So those zombie charges, that's how you know that a service has finally actually been canceled, is when you're no longer being charged for it. But these irreputable companies, they figure, hey, if I can charge another month or two before somebody really gets mad about it, well, that's just a little more money in my pocket. So
yeah, that's right. So anytime you're canceling a service like that, you definitely want to look on that next month or whenever that next billing statement would be, and see if there's a recurring charge for something like that.
Yeah, and one of the other areas we often will see these type of little charges, these gray charges, can also be in some of these little insurance policies that a lot of people purchase.
Right. I see these all the time in the form of insurance policies that have been sold to somebody. A lot of times things like cancer policies or some sort of accidental death policy. And a lot of times these were part of a bigger sales pitch related to insurance, where, so maybe you're buying health insurance, but that insurance says, the insurance agent says, well, by the way, for just an extra $2 a month, I can sign you up for a policy that if you ever get cancer, it'll provide some additional benefits. Most of the stuff that I have read about those is that many of those policies, all you're actually doing is paying for things that are already covered under your basic health insurance. And so you're not actually getting any additional benefits through those policies. And they're often sold to people who will never need them, or even if they do need them, will have long forgot that they even had it. And yet they can bill this $2 or $3 a month, in perpetuity, unless you're paying attention and you realize you need to cancel that policy.
Right, and the other problem with these little policies like this is, a lot of times, we'll deal with a senior who purchased a life insurance policy 40, 50, 60 years ago. And the premiums, I had one just this week I was looking at, the premiums were literally about $1.25 a month. And they've been paying on this policy for 60 years. And the benefit that's being offered by this policy is a $500 term life insurance benefit.
Right.
So if you do the math, a lot of times these small policies, because they've just been ignored and forgotten, you've overpaid for the benefit that those policies actually give. One of the issues we see with this, however, is that particularly some of our seniors, they feel like, oh, no, I have to have that policy. They don't want to let go. They've got that emotional attachment because they've had it in place for so long. But we need to be smart about these type things and take a look at them. And if we need to cancel them because it's economically appropriate, then that needs to be done.
Make sure you're actually getting something of value with that dollar. And a lot of one of the best ways to get to look at that is whoever sold it to you. Ask somebody that's not in that business. You don't want to go and ask another insurance salesman because they might tell you, well, no, that one's not any good, but they've got another one that's even better. But ask a CPA or a financial advisor that doesn't sell that type of insurance to give you an independent advice on that. So yeah, definitely want to check those things out. Now, there is one other one, but before we get to that, I think we'll take another little break. So stick around, we'll be right back.
All our moments should be cherished. SEMA Hospice provides comfort care when you need it most with compassion, dignity, and respect. Along with Jordan Health Services, SEMA Hospice provides compassionate continuity of care. SEMA Hospice, comfort and care when it matters most.
As things get older, they require more care. This car and I have seen a lot of miles together, but because I take care of her, she runs just like she did in 1955. That's why I chose the Wadley Senior Clinic, with an individualized care plan designed just for me and a convenient location off Jefferson Avenue. They have everything to keep me running like new. It's not about the miles, it's about the journey. Let the Wadley Senior Clinic keep you happy, healthy, and cruising down the road of life.
Hi there, I'm Larry Sims. It's been my privilege for the past several years to be a volunteer board member of Hospice of Texarkana. And there I'm able to represent community members like you. We continually customize our end-of-life care to better meet the needs of our community. As an example, our medical director and nurse practitioner still make visits to homes and facilities. Call today to learn more about the help we can give your family. Hospice of Texarkana, the nonprofit hospice established in 1985 for the community, by the community.
From our first moments to our final days, life's journey should be remembered free of burden and worry. Family should be cherished. SEMA Hospice provides comfort care, dignity, and respect. Learn more about SEMA Hospice at SEMAHospice.com. SEMA Hospice, comfort and care when it matters most.
Welcome back to Aging in Sight. I'm Lisa Scholmeyer, and I'm here with John Ross. And today we've been talking about gray charges, or these little charges that pop up on your bank account statement or your credit card bill that you may not need or want anymore, but maybe you just haven't sat down to really look at it and deal with them. So, we've talked about things where you sign up for a free service and it turns into a paid service. Mm-hmm. We've talked about zombie charges and phantom charges where, things just keep being dinged onto your bank account even when you don't want it to. We've talked about these little life insurance or other types of insurance policies that provide very little benefit, but maybe you're still paying that incremental premium. And finally, these days, another charge we see quite a bit are automatically renewing subscriptions. And that could be for a service on the internet, that could be the typical magazine subscriptions. I met with a family one time, and they brought in all the magazines that their loved one had subscribed to, and there was 4 or 5 subscriptions to the same magazine, and it just was it was overwhelming. But they automatically renewed on the credit card, so the Field and Stream just never stopped.
That's right. And that's the problem with a lot of these subscription services, is that they do just keep on going regardless of whether or not you want it to keep on going. And a lot of times you may mean to turn it off, you may mean to cancel it, but by the time you think about it, it's already renewed for another year. And of course they have lots of good ways of, you call them up right after you see that charge, and a lot of times they'll say, well, you've already paid for this year, so just go ahead and keep getting this, and then before it renews again, call us back. Yeah. Don't cancel it now, because if you cancel it now, you're not going to get any more magazines even though you've already paid. Usually that's not true. If you've paid for it, you're going to get it. So you want to be careful. The other thing about subscription programs is that a lot of times with these subscription programs, they build in termination fees. So you may not have realized it, but particularly in our senior community, a lot of times they have signed up for things like home security systems, medical alert systems, and things like that that come with subscription programs that automatically renew over time. But then all of a sudden that person, maybe they're no longer living in that home because they've had to go to assisted living, and they don't need that medical alert device any longer. And when they try to cancel it, they realize that there are some built-in cancellation charges with that subscription. So you want to be very careful when you're signing up for subscriptions. One, to find out, does it automatically renew? And two, if you want to cancel it, are there any hidden charges?
So we've kind of covered some different gray charges that you might see, but what do you do about them?
Right.
And of course, the very first thing you do about them is, one day you just get out the past couple of months' bank statements or more in your credit card bills, and you really take a look at them. Many people I know, they check and make sure their automatic deposits were made, that their Social Security and their pension check hit the bank. And then they just sort of skim through the expenses. Because there's going to be little ones here as you go out to lunch there, or buy personal needs items at the drugstore. But really take a look and go line by line. And if it's something you don't remember or don't recall, investigate until you're certain of what the charge was. And John, like you mentioned, some of these charges only charge once a year. So once you kind of get on board with this, you want to look at each subsequent monthly statement, and certainly look at as much history. If you haven't looked at it in a while, look at as much history to see if there's anything on there. So the first thing to do is to pay attention and look over your statements.
That's right. If you're getting things like phantom charges or zombie charges, you want to definitely, contact the retailer, whoever it is that's billing you. Contact them directly, certainly. But if you're not getting any good response there, the next thing would be to call that credit card company or that bank and tell them not to accept any charges from that, not to deny any automatic withdrawals. If they are in fact false charges against your card or against your bank account, then there's no problems with you contacting the bank and telling them, look, do not accept a request from whatever person is trying to bill you.
And another trick you may not have noticed on your bank statements, if John, you said to contact the merchant or retailer directly. A lot of times on the bank statements next to that charge will be a telephone number. Sometimes it's a 1-800 number, sometimes it's a regular phone number with an area code and the 7 digits, but there should be a phone number next to the charge so you don't have to search around looking for that magazine clearinghouse to call to cancel that subscription. It should be right there on your statement.
That's right. And then of course, if you have gotten your banking information out there, or you've gotten your debit card information or your credit card information, and you are overwhelmed by this, and even if not, occasionally it's usually not a bad idea to have that credit card reissued with a different number, or that debit card reissued with a different number, and that, one, that protects your personal financial information from somebody who might have picked it up along the way, or some disreputable retailer out there that has all of that information. If they've misused it once, then even if they address that one, that doesn't mean that they won't misuse it again. And so by getting new credit cards occasionally, or new banking cards occasionally, that can be a good way to prevent that. And of course, if you have subscribed to something and they try to debit that, they'll let you know when it doesn't go through.
Right. Or they'll just go away because they knew better and to start off with.
That's right.
But if you do switch credit card information or your banking routing, make sure that things that you do want to continue to come out are properly transferred over, because we don't want you to miss any legitimate insurance premiums or services that you do want to continue.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting close here to the end of another edition of Aging Insight. Thanks again for joining us right here. We'll be back again next week with a whole new program. Of course, if we haven't answered something, if you've got a question out there that you just need an answer to, you can always call our radio show, which is every Saturday at noon on 107.1. That's the Aging Insight radio show.
All right. Well, and then we'll be back here next week with some additional great information for our viewers. And, if you want to catch up on some previous episodes of Aging Insight from this television station, you can go to www.klfi.com TV and view those, and you can also go to www.aginginsight.com and you can see our reruns.
That's right. So anytime you want to find us, you should be able to. But until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this week's Aging Insight program with John Ross and Lisa Scholmeyer. This program is made possible by